You've come a long, long way. You're not alone anymore. Come sit with me and tell me your story. You've come a long way, girl. Pulled yourself out and cracked the mess. Those were some dark times back then, but it's all over now. You're not alone anymore. Come sit with me and tell me your story. This is Truckin' with Tamie, where your journey's heard and your voice is free. You're not alone, come share your story with me.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back to Truckin' Tuesday. I'm your host, Tamie. Today, we've got a real road warrior joining us on Truckin' with Tamie. She's out there every day, strapping, tarping, and living that flatbed life. Please welcome to the show, flatbed driver Tami Sheats.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Tamie. So you guys got two Tammys today, so double the trouble. I just want to point
That's
that
right.
out. Two T's. Yeah, that's a lot of trouble in one show. So Tamie, so on the show, I'd like to get a little background information before we dive into what you're out there doing. So can you give us a little bit of insight into Tamie before trucking?
Tamie before trucking was just your basic stay-at-home mom. I did hold a job on occasion when needed, factory work or whatever. Decided to finish my education. That didn't work with two small kids that just they weren't going to let mom do much. And met my husband when my kids were 6 and 4. And he was a truck driver. And just I'd always been interested from a young girl. I watched BJ and the Bear, Moving On, Convoy, and it just always appealed to me, traveling and being out on the road.
So how long have you had your CDL now?
I've had my CDL, it'll be 21 years in November.
Oh, good. So you got your CDL when the kids were still young at home.
17 and 15 and a half.
Okay, so they were teenagers. So how did that work? What did they think about mom getting her CDL?
They were good. They were good with it. They were glad mom was gone most of the time, so they were good.
Yeah, my youngest is 19, so I get that. They're at that age where they're like, "Mom, get away so I can, do my thing."
Yep. Mom, go do your
So
thing. We're good. Yep. That's how they were.
so have you guys always teamed, you and your husband,
Yes.
since then?
Yes. He was actually my trainer
Oh,
when I
wow.
got out of
Okay.
truck driving school. Yep.
So you went to a school. So what was your experience like at school?
My experience at school was really quick. It was a company that he was already an owner operator at, leasing a truck through. And the school was only 2 weeks. It was really push, a lot of information in 2 weeks. And then got the CDL, did the DOT testing and got in the truck with him 2 weeks
So
later. And he was my trainer.
was he training you before that or during that? I know when my son got his CDL before all this ELDT, I was teaching him how to drive the manual ahead of time.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah, he would let me drive the truck once in a while and in the summer maybe go out on the road with him for a week, and I got my hands wet. Got to see all of it out there and what it was about, and it took that it's a scary feeling away. I was a little more comfortable.
yeah, I can definitely see that where that would make a difference
A big
when you're going
difference.
through it. Yeah, not as intimidating as someone who's like walking from the office to the road.
Right. So we did have a guy in school that was a stockbroker in New York City, had never even drove a car.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I mean, it's if it's what you want to do and your heart's in it, and I mean anybody can do it. There's no just set person. You just got to have the
No.
mindset, and that be your dream and what you want to do.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds out here. I have seen professors. I have seen, well, like you said, stockbroker. I came from a insurance background myself. I've seen teachers, nurses, um, just people from all walks of life getting their
Yep,
CDL.
yep. And
For
some
a
of
lot of
them
us,
later
it's
in life.
yeah, for a lot of us, it's a career change.
Yes.
So, empty nesting, I think, is a great time for especially women who raise kids, like yourself and myself. Empty nesting is generally a great time to make that transition.
Yep. The perfect time.
Yeah. So, when you first came out here with your husband, being an owner operator, that what kind did you guys haul flatbed back then, or did you start out in a different?
We did. He kind of put me through the paces. So we did dry van for a while, and then probably for about 2 years, and then went over to refrigerated hauling, and ended up at the company we're at now doing the specialized flatbed
And how long have you been doing flatbed now?
since 2008. So about 18 years.
Wow, that's a long time. So
It is
obviously
a
you
long time.
like the flatbed.
Yeah, I like the activity, and it's not the same freight going to the same places. It's you never know what you're going to be hauling, where it's going. You see so many different things and meet so many different people doing it.
Yeah,
Keeps it interesting.
I like having that change too. There's some people out there that like a set run where it's dependable and predictable and they know where they're going and they do the same thing over and over, and I can't do that.
I can't do that either. No.
So
My attention
I
span
like
ain't
the
that
change.
good. Yes, lots of change.
Different scenery, different obstacles, because when you're delivering in different places, it's also new obstacles and that you have to overcome as well out there.
Yep, a lot of them. I mean, especially in the flatbed industry, you never know where they want you to take your load. It could be down a two track through a farmer's field, or like doing wind energy and stuff. We've gone up the side of a mountain on basically a road that they made themselves. It was like a goat trail. I mean, you never know. And not every load's the same, and not every receiver's the same. Everything's just, you, you don't get bored. It doesn't get
No,
stale.
no, I can imagine not. And teaming, at least you have somebody to help you with the unknown. I bet you there's quite an advantage to that, to two of you being able
Yes.
to tackle new situations.
Yep. There's two brains at work. His is a lot of experience, 38 years of experience. And mine is more on the logical side of doing things, and his is the old school way or the muscle way. And so we have a plan that works for a team. Is I worry about the bookwork, the paperwork, everything inside the truck, and then once I step out of that truck and we're messing with a load, that's his area. He's the boss, so he takes
So
care of the
he
maintenance on the truck and everything. Yep, and he's in charge when I step out of the truck.
so he kind of is like the supervisor with tarping and strapping, and this is how you're
Yeah,
going to do it. This is how we're going
yeah.
to load this, and you're the route planner.
And I'm, yep,
The
basically, yep. Make sure that we get paid, that he sends in paperwork. Yep. So
So you guys are owner operators still?
yes, we are. Yes, we are. We will be till we retire. Yes.
And you've always been, since you got your CDL, in that owner operator scenario.
I think when we first started out, we were company for my first year, and then after that, yeah, we went lease owner operator, and once you get a taste of that, it takes a certain person to want to do that, because there's a lot more responsibility in being an owner operator than driving for somebody.
Yes, there
So,
is. There is. I went from company driver to trainer, to lease op to having my own authority. And I loved it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I absolutely loved it. But as a woman, for me, the mechanic side of it is a little harder, owning
yes.
multiple trucks. And well, I learned a lot. I did, but I think maintenance is one of the most important things. And so having that person with that experience and that mechanical know-how is a blessing for you. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
he is
just,
a he don't feel like it is sometimes, but he is definitely a blessing. But I don't like to tell him because then the head swells and I have to live with him in this truck. And yeah, so yeah, he is a blessing. He is definitely.
all right. We won't tell him then. Shh. All
We
right,
won't tell him.
guys, don't don't
Shh.
don't tell him he's a blessing out here.
Yeah.
We don't want that. So when you got into flatbed, and so what I like to do for women that are looking at different types of trucking is kind of give them an idea of what they're getting into. So
Okay.
flatbed is a lot of physical work.
Yes, it is a lot of physical work. Yes, a lot of
And
responsibility because that load is all your responsibility once it hits that trailer. Anything goes wrong, there's no one that's going to back you up and nobody, that's you grab those papers, you got her secured, she's all yours and it's a lot of responsibility.
it is. Well, let's break it down for listeners and let's go back to the beginning when you first go with the company. So I know you've been with this company for quite a while, but do you remember what you went through to show that you were able to do flatbed work? Did they have physical agility? I mean, I know you have to be able to lift a tarp. What can women expect
um
that they're going to have to be able to do physically?
so physically when you come over to flatbed like you said, you got to be able to lift around 30 to 50 pounds. It depends, I mean, you're doing flatbed, some of these tarps can hit 75 pounds, depends on how big
I
they are.
heard I heard 90 to 100 and something depending on the bigger tarps.
The big ones with the big drops, the big tarps with the big drops. So that's what I got him for. But they just want to make sure that you got the skill set and that you can grasp what you need to do, how things are worked out mathematically, how many straps or chains you need for this length, this weight. Um, but the company where we are currently has what they call securement training, and they put you to the test. They help you. They teach you how to figure this out. They don't want to send anybody out that is unsure of themselves or whatever. So if you need extra time in securement class, you just have to request it. We have a lot of good drivers over here, and there's a lot of good drivers out on the road with other companies, owner ops or otherwise. If you're struggling or having an issue, don't be afraid to ask a fellow driver, hey, would you do it this way? How would you do this? That's how you learn. Like I've been
Yeah.
told over again, the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. So
That's right. Because it's better to ask than it is to lose a load. And I mean, I
yes,
have
oh Lord,
witnessed a
yes.
few lost, yeah, I have witnessed a few lost loads that were a nightmare out there. And
Yep.
so it's a much smarter alternative to ask. So let's go back to, so the first thing is the tarping. You don't always have to tarp, but tarping is a necessary evil in flatbed world. And you don't
Yes.
only have to be able to lift it, but in some situations you have to be able to throw it over your
Right.
loads, correct?
Right. So that usually entails 99.9% of the time getting up on a ladder. And you're on this trailer and you're getting up on a ladder. If your load's over 6 foot, there's nobody out there that's going to put a tarp over their head more than, 6 feet. And you got to spread it out. So sometimes you're on top of these loads, walking that tarp out, opening it up, spreading it out, making sure it's touching on both sides. And then sometimes you got to spin that tarp. So you got it out and you look down and you're like, okay, so we have an issue. It's not touching the deck of the trailer and you got to turn it sideways. And it's
Okay, so
just a lot of just caution, be careful, think things through. Math comes in handy. If you got a tarp that'll cover a load that's 8 foot wide by 8 foot high to the deck, just make sure that's the tarp you got. 8 foot drops are really good on those. And just think it through or ask. If you're unsure, ask. Because there is a lot of physical work with tarping.
Yeah. So for all you people who took geometry in high school and you said, I will never use this in my day-to-day life, if you're
Yes,
going to
you
get
will.
into flatbedding, you're going to use it. You're going to
You're
use it
gonna
a
use
lot.
it. You're gonna use it a lot, a lot. And don't let it scare you, because I will tell you, out of all we've done, flatbedding, and I'm not knocking the others, but flatbedding has been the most rewarding. I mean, look, we're at this company still doing it, and 18 years.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's a long time to be at one company and doing the same
Yes,
thing. So
yes.
I don't have flatbed experience myself, but I've heard that there are some places that you go to that have special little machine things that help you with tarping, and that
Yes,
makes life
yes.
just fantabulous.
Yes, they have lifts. So what they'll do is sometimes, if you even ask them when they're loading you and they got a forklift, um, they'll lift your tarps up on the load for you. Sometimes if they got two forklifts, we go to this one company where they take two forklifts and they spread your tarp out so they don't want you up on the load. And they'll lift it up there for you and spread it out. There's places, like you said, that have hoists and cranes overhead. They hook bungees, hook it to the crane, and they drape it over your load. But
Oh man, that just
most of the time, you're gonna do it yourself.
yeah. But so expect, well, the reason why I
Expect.
let in with that is because you see a lot of advertisements out there that talk about, oh, you're only going to throw your tarps, a very small amount of time. Most tarps are put on, and that's not true. I mean, they are out
No,
there,
it's not.
but
They're out there. Yes, they're out there. It's customer specific. You know what their insurance says they have to do, and yeah. But no,
but don't expect
you
on
can't
it.
say that.
Yeah,
Don't accept on it. No, don't expect it. But don't let that stop you either. A tarp
right.
is just a really large piece of fabric. It's all it is that you got to wrangle, right? Once you do it a
And
few times, you'll
mhm.
get the hang of it. It's all good.
Okay, so let's dig a little bit deeper into tarping. So now let's talk about
Okay.
weather. So we have tarping
Oh,
in the summer, we
weather.
have tarping in rain, we have tarping in snow, we have tarping in ice. Can you give us the challenges of each season and the good and the bad with
Okay.
that?
Okay. So winter tends to be, if you're in colder areas, snow, cold. Your tarps will stiffen. They're not pliable anymore. They're hard to spread out there. They're hard to get super taut. You can do it, but it's a lot of work. And then you're fighting the cold. You're cold. Your hands are cold. You're pulling those bungees, and wow. So I would put winter the worst. Summer is heat. It can be taxing because of the heat, but just drink lots of water. If you're feeling overheated, get in your truck, crank up the air, cool off, go back out. The tarps are definitely pliable, very, very manageable. Yeah, I mean, they're at what they love to be in, I guess, heat. Spring, wind and rain, and fall is the wind. Um, the husband's brother was literally picked up off a trailer and slammed on the ground by his tarp during wind.
Oh
So,
wow.
most important thing, you got four corners on a tarp. Get your bungees on your four corners and hook it down and leave them there to you're either done tarping or you're done unbungeeing the load. Then go to those four if you're in the wind, just so you don't get swept off your feet or it slaps you in the face.
So you can
So
kind of tie them down until you tighten them type of thing?
yes, yeah, the four corners. That's the first thing they'll, even if you don't know what you're doing, you get into
Yeah.
class at any company, they're going to say, do your four corners first. Or you might be putting that tarp back up and down like 10 times because the wind will take it off. You never know. You never know. So, yep.
If you walk away from my show with any insight, just remember four corners first. We want you to
Four
remember
corners
that.
first. Yes. Most important thing, four corners first. Yes.
Okay, now, so and then that's tarping. And then you also have where you have to secure the load. So we're talking chains, straps,
Chains and binders, straps. Yep. Yep.
and
They're
how does that work?
so usually,
Heavy, a lot of, I mean, you got to
yeah.
throw those too. So you know,
Right. So you look at your product, right? You have what's called commodity specific, usually requires chains. Those are those don't go by the general rules of so many so many feet you're supposed to have so much securement. But on commodity specific like bulldozers, tractors, any kind of wheeled machinery, army tanks, anything like that, you can only usually secure 4 to 6 points. So you use a heavier chain. If you got a heavier vehicle and you're only going to have 4 points that you can secure it at or six, then you're going to go with like a heavier chain. A 5/16 is your lighter chain on up to a 1/2 inch, weighs a lot. And
okay.
that's usually on the bigger equipment, you'd use the 1/2 inch. Straps, you just got to know your weight and what your strap can do.
And
And they teach you all that.
it's
Yeah.
not like the straps you use on bands either. It's a much thicker, wider
Yep, 4 inch. They're
strap,
4 inches wide. Yep, they're 4 inches wide. Yep.
but the
And
same ratchet strap type that you use, right? The ratchet type still.
well, they go through the railing and go into the winch that's underneath that you wind them up in and ratchet it down. Um, you use 2 inch too. There are 2 inch ones out there too. The lighter the load, if you can get away with like 3 2 inch straps, because the load weighs 600 pounds, then why mess with the bigger straps? Just get out your smaller straps. It's just a learning curve, and like I said, a lot of it is just the willingness to don't be shy, don't be intimidated. Just like I said, ask people. That's what they're there for. Fleet managers are an amazing source of information, believe it or not. People wouldn't believe that on flatbedding, but you can call them if you're hauling oversize or you have a question on the securement on a trailer because you're newer. You call them and they'll help you. They have a wealth of knowledge to help
Most
you. That's
companies.
what they're there
Yeah,
for.
most
Most
companies,
companies.
especially ones
Most
that have
companies.
been in flatbed for a while, you will
Yes.
learn that they learn a lot on the job about that. And they
Yes.
should. I think everyone that works for a company should know the type of trailer and the ins and outs of that. So one thing I hear a lot of drivers give advice is if you don't want to throw tarps, if you don't want to do that, to get into Conestoga. And I did
Yes,
hear you
Conestoga.
mention Conestoga.
Yes.
Conestoga trailers, for those that don't know, they are basically like a soft side dry van and it retracts. And so you pull it back and you have a flatbed deck. They load it up, strap chain it, and then they pull the Conestoga close, and you basically have a dry
Yeah.
van type
Yes.
load. So in a Conestoga, obviously you're not tarping, but that Conestoga, how easy is it to maneuver back and forth on the rails? And you still have to strap chain your load, correct?
Yes, you still have to secure your load. So I guess it depends on the Conestoga, how old it is, how new it is. They can be a little much to open sometimes. You got to have a little oomph. Some some you can open with your finger, one finger, and pull it open. But um, do we
Are they
prefer
all manual?
Conestogas? Yes, they're all
Are they all?
manual. That I
I
know of.
didn't know.
I could be misspoken. There could be some that aren't, but basically they're all manual. Our company has RGN Conestogas. So the removable gooseneck and you drive whatever up on it, or if it's a certain height and they need that lower deck to keep it legal to put it in, we have those too. And it's just a learning curve. And it's another thing, don't let it intimidate you or whatever. Ask questions. You might have to put a little oomph behind it sometimes just to get it going and get it closed.
I imagine probably, especially in winter weather, they probably don't glide too well.
Yeah, yeah. Winter has this strange effect on anything called tarp. Yeah, they don't. No, no, they don't.
Well,
But they're nice.
I see a lot of advice being given to drivers about different things. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think you're really taking all of it in when you're saying that, because Conestogas are nice,
Yes.
when you don't have to throw tarps, but they come with their own challenges. Um,
Yes, they do. They have inside of them what are called ribs. So they're like metal rods that go on the inside of the tarp to the trailer to keep that shape, right, and keep it from collapsing on the load. And sometimes if you don't close them correctly, wind can get in there and break those rods.
Oh, wow.
And then you got the problem that your tarp's not getting tight on that Conestoga. So I mean, they do come with their challenges. Everybody's like, oh, I can't wait to haul a Conestoga. Enjoy it while you can, but you're going to come across a situation where you're like, oh boy, you know, what do I do now? But again, dispatchers, if you got a maintenance shop or a trailer shop at your company, they're a really good source of information too on how to do, like, all right, let's get this fixed good enough to get you down the road to get it repaired at a shop, or let's get it something figured out. I got my own mechanic in the back, so I just have to wake him up and say, fix it. So, and he don't charge
Your
he don't
turn.
charge nothing. He don't charge nothing, so that's good. Yeah. But yeah.
So, okay, so that's Conestoga.
Mhm.
Does Conestoga have certain freight? Is there certain things that you would use a Conestoga versus
Okay.
an open flatbed? Or does
Yes.
it just
Aerospace, um the new data centers for the AI, so you got all that equipment that got to go into those mega data centers with the AI. That's something new. So you don't want that stuff getting dirty or wet, but it's not going to fit in a van trailer. It's going to have to go on like a Conestoga RGN, something that sits lower. And you just high security stuff. You don't want nobody.
I heard glass too. I've heard a lot about
Glass.
glass.
Glass is the most important. I've seen some glass hauled on flatbeds, and I'm like, listen, if I was expecting a shipment of glass, or if I was shipping glass, I'd want it in a Conestoga. You don't want the debris off the road, a rock or something coming off another truck and busting your glass. High dollar freight, stuff that they want to keep really, really super protected. Aerospace, a lot of the aerospace, they want it in Conestogas. That's another thing. Dirt, dust, just debris off the road, anything that might work up under a regular tarp, they want to protect it.
Okay, that's good to know. Like I said, I knew there's certain times you would want one or the other, but so loading. Let's talk about math again. As I have been in a shipper's area when a flatbed was getting loaded, and the
Mm-hmm.
driver was dictating a lot about weight and placement. I
Yes.
don't know if that's a common thing. So do
Yes, it is.
you okay, so you actually have to kind of know your weights and placement
Right.
um for planning how to load your cargo as well.
Right. Because you don't want to be over on your trailers, and you don't want to be over on your drives. And with flatbed with dry van freight, they just load it till front to back usually, and they've
Mhm.
done it so long they know the placement. But certain things weigh heavier on the back side than they do on the front side. So you got to figure out, and the main thing we always ask is, what's the heaviest part of this load? Is it front, middle, rear, or is it, pretty well displaced without the whole thing? And then you figure out exactly on the trailer where you want that, so you're not over axle.
So
So
you do
it's a
have to
little bit of
be,
math. It's a little bit of math,
yeah.
just a
It's like a
little.
puzzle. It's a
It
puzzle.
is.
I mean,
And
you got to
people like
put.
puzzles and challenges and stuff.
I
So
do.
yeah. Yeah, so do
I,
I.
I
So
do.
does he back there. Yeah. I
So
can
that's
hear him back
important.
there. Yeah.
He's like, me too.
Me
So
too.
you're actually hauling specialized.
Specialized, yes.
So what does specialized mean in the flatbed world?
So specialized is your above the ordinary type of freight that needs special handling, special equipment, um, drivers that are qualified, a certain class of um, company where it has 4 classes for
Okay.
oversized. Class 4 is your intermediate, your basic, goes up to so much weight, so much width, that's it. Then you got your 3 and your 2. 2 gets up in there to certain width, high value, certain value of a load. We'll go with class 2. And then we're class 1, which means you know, width,
Big,
height, none of that
expensive.
matter. Yeah,
Yeah.
very expensive, don't matter in that. Um, Lord, how do I explain this? It's it's different
So
for sure.
it's not going to be just
Aerospace,
okay.
jet engines,
Okay.
aerospace stuff for aerospace, military equipment, um,
So you're not
containers.
hauling coils. You're not hauling
Oh yeah, we've hauled
tubing.
coils. We've hauled tubing. We've hauled, that blue styrofoam insulation you see,
Hmm.
and you think, wow, that's a really light load. We've hauled that. Anything that can be put on a
Generators.
flatbed, generators. Oh, generators are big.
I see those all the
Transformers.
time.
Yeah, transformers. Electrical panels. I mean, just a lot. Just a lot. Anything that you can put on a step deck RGN, flatbed, whatever you can find to put it on, we haul it.
So
We don't say no.
when you haul specialized equipment, let me pick something that has, I think you said 4 to 6 points of contact that you have to have them
Right.
strapped.
Yep.
Is that knowledge that you maintain, or does the shipper, or is there like certain product information that says, hey, this has to be strapped a certain way?
Correct. So some shippers will give you an actual diagram or a plan of how they want this certain load. It even comes on loads that are being strapped down. You can't put straps here, here, or here. We want them here. I want it there, and I want it there. No other place. So usually your shippers are really good about where they want it secured. Uh, and then you get into, like I said, the commodity specific stuff. It's some of it you can learn offhand, and it just sinks in after you do one or two of them. It just sinks in. You know what you're looking at weight wise, and what the weight rating on your chains and binders are together, and where you need to put them. So
I think we've been giving a lot of information about loads, but it's something, I mean, it is probably the most important part. And so
yes.
we get the product on the trailer, we get it strapped, we get it chained, whatever we need to do, get the tarp on it, and we get ready to go
Yep.
down the road. Now, there's also rules on that, right? So you guys have to stop how often to check your load.
We stop the first 50 miles and check our load, just to make sure everything's good. Then every time you stop for fuel, take a rest break, you need to be checking your load, because things shift, things move, things loosen up. The roads out here ain't smooth. Um, and then
No.
usually anywhere from every 150 miles, just stop and just do a quick peek. Just make sure everything's good.
Yeah.
That's the most
That's really
important thing.
important. I
Yes.
as a driver, the first time I ran into a flatbed incident was in Wyoming, and they had construction. It was one lane and it was nighttime. And we were going through this one lane, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. A flatbed had lost its load of lumber.
Oh
And we were
no.
in between Jersey barriers. So I was the third truck. So needless to say, there was some 4x4 posts that got into some trucks. I was able to straddle it and didn't get any damage, but the two trucks in front of
Oh,
me
that's
did.
good. Oh Lord.
But that driver got an earful from a lot of other drivers
Oh yeah.
uh,
Yes.
for that.
It's we go down the highway all the time, and back when we started, everybody had their CBs on. Nobody was coarse, crude, any of that, right? You could be on there. Your kids could be in the truck. You could leave your CB on. Now you can't. And then that results in problems of, we're out here all the time and we're noticing some of these loads that ain't secured properly. You can't get the driver's attention. And you're just like, well, I guess the best course is to get around them safely and just head on down the road. There's, they're not paying attention. I've held up signs in the window. You got loose straps, you're about to lose your load. They just look at you and just keep going. Just that thousand
Yeah.
yard stare and just keep driving.
And it seems to be more common. It's getting more and more common where you see drivers pulling their curtain partway, so you can't even see their face and they can't see you. And I hate that. I hate when
Oh
drivers
yes,
do that.
yes. I'm like, where's the DOT? That's the first words out of my mouth. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing that you don't want anybody going past you seeing? Is my thing. Because, I've caught drivers on their phones.
Yeah,
Or
I see
this
that a
one guy
lot.
had a laptop on his dash watching a movie. I'm like, what are you doing? Things can
It's
change out
crazy.
here so fast in a heartbeat. What are you doing? Yeah, it is
Mhm,
crazy.
mhm.
Yep.
So one of the good things about flatbedding is you don't have to bump docks,
No, you do not have to bump docks. It's
which is
rare.
great.
Now you got some docks to offload, like they call them ramps to offload equipment sometimes, to back up and drive a tractor off or anything. But it's nothing like bumping a dock for a van.
So here there is a town nearby that my son worked at a few years ago, and they do grain bins. And the loading docks are inside the building, and the flatbeds have to back into the building, and it's three sides. So they have to, fit it in that spot. And I've seen that.
Right.
But
Yep.
most of the time, and you guys don't even really I don't know if I want to say there's not a lot of backing, or there might be, but it's not up against a dock generally.
Right. They come out to you, load you from either side or both sides.
Okay.
Yep.
What has been the most challenging back that you've done out there? Where have
Most
you had to put
challenging.
that? Yeah.
Where we've had to put that. I would say it was in the wintertime, and we had to go inside a building. But to go inside that building, you had to make a sharp turn, pull into another building, and then back at an angle down in, and you had just enough room for the trailer. And the ramp hadn't been plowed. And I think that was the worst one, because that trailer could slip at any time. And I
Right.
think that was the tightest. That was the worst. My favorites are when they're holding the product up in the air and they say drive under it. I'm like, well, that's safe. Um, but yeah, it's not really a lot. You got more intense backing situations getting into a truck stop and backing than most
I can
flatbed.
agree with that. Especially the
Yeah.
older ones with have the narrow parking spots
Oh,
from,
yes. Oh,
that
yeah.
are like ages old, that were built before 53-foot trailers.
Yep.
Some of those are just ridiculous. So,
I agree.
so and saying that, now backing a flatbed is a lot different than backing a van.
It's a little more, well, right. So you got a little bit more visibility on your trailer sometimes, but it is a little more challenging with a flatbed. Just a little. I think it's just getting used to the idea that it maneuvers just a little bit different than a dry van. It's not harder. In some situations, the maneuverability can be a little exciting and challenging, but not bad.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
curious. I've never driven one, so I don't know how it works. I've watched them back lots of
Right. And
times.
if you got a load on your trailer and you turn a flatbed too sharp to try to back like you can with a van, or you try to, crank on it and slide in there, you got to be careful, because flatbeds like to turn over if you crank on them way too hard. They will
Really?
turn
I did
over.
not know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It's that
That is
high center of gravity on some loads and stuff like that. Yeah. They're fun. They're fun. I rather back a flatbed than a van any day, though, because of the line of sight. You can, especially if you're empty, it's easy. You can just slide in. You see exactly what the rear end of your trailer is doing. So yeah.
that is that. I didn't know that about this. I mean, I know center of gravity with dry van, but I didn't realize that flatbeds had that same issue. I have not ever seen one tipped over. So,
Um, they do. They like to roll over and play dead, just like vans do on occasion.
they like to take a nap.
They just taking a nap. They're tired. They've had a hard day.
Okay, so we talked about tarping it and chaining it and balancing your weight. What other things would somebody looking to getting into flatbed need to know about the flatbed industry?
I'll probably get in trouble for this one. Blue jeans and t-shirts from Walmart. Don't come out here and do flatbed in a dress or a skirt, shorts or sandals. please, you walk by your load, you're gonna get filthy. Just stuff that you don't care if it gets ripped, dirty, or whatever. That next time you're at Walmart, you can replace a T-shirt or jeans or whatever. Um, Enjoy Flatbed, because it's just the stuff you're gonna see. It's just an adventure. Every time you turn around, it's just a new adventure, new friends, learning things, seeing exciting things. I mean, we've we've delivered some stuff that I got to be careful what I say. We've delivered some stuff that would blow your mind, that I wish we could talk about. Just amazing stuff, once in a lifetime stuff. My
Yeah.
grandkids just love when we come home and we can say we did this or we did that. Things I could say to my family I can't say on a podcast. But
So
it's just amazing. It's just an adventure, and it's fulfilling. You feel like you're really accomplishing something.
hauling a dry van, I'll use an example, and maybe this will open up without giving away information. So for me, I have 2 loads that went, 3 actually, of my favorite loads that I've delivered. One, I actually delivered on an airline strip on the tarmac. I actually was out on the thing, had to deliver, and I love that. I was out
Yep.
there with the planes. One, a new school was being built, and I delivered the mats for the gym, and
Oh, that
it
is
was
so
under
cool.
construction. And that was in a dry van. And then once they were in Colorado, they were building a storage facility, and I delivered the doors. However, that was very challenging because there was a lot of equipment, and I had to back and weave my way through all the equipment and the buildings. But I was delivering the doors, and those 3, I mean, it was a dry van, but they were very interesting experiences that weren't normal dock bumping.
Okay. So I can relate loads to what you did. Uh, we have picked up aircraft engines for aircraft on the ground and delivered out to the plane on the tarmac.
See, that's really
We
cool.
have, yeah, we've done that a few times. We delivered transformers to a data center in the mountain, in the hills, and the other one for a school. We've delivered air units for a wing on a hospital being built that
Ooh.
needed them in team time. We've done that. We've done a lot. Someday,
So
if
you
I come
guys
back on, I maybe they'll let me have a list of things I can tell you I've done.
now, have you delivered to like inner city areas?
Yes, actually, my first load out of him being my trainer, I got to drive downtown Queens and
Oh,
deliver
wow.
fabric to a warehouse where the cop was like, if they don't get out of your way because they're parked where they're not supposed to, he says, I won't say a thing and run them over. I'm like, no. First rule, don't run cars over. Um, that
I
was
always
that was
wondered if that was
intense.
an actual thing.
Yeah, I hear more and more drivers say that, the cop said, hey, they're parked there, they're not supposed to be there. If you got to take that turn and there's no other option, run them over. And I'm like, yeah. New York City is not my favorite place. We've gone there a lot. We delivered granite to the new Twin Towers when they were building
Nice.
those. Yep, we were right beside 9/11, the Memorial Park. I got to walk over there while he was getting unloaded. I walked over there and I got to see all the names and that whole thing down in there. Um, yeah, we've seen just a lot of interesting things.
Yeah, and
I
it's
mean, just
so amazing to be a part of that, isn't it? To
it
be able to
is.
look
It
back and
builds
say, "Hey,
memories.
I was there." It does.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's
It's
what
awesome.
sets flatbed apart from dry van, because I had,
Yep.
3 amazing experiences in 9 years of dock bumping. So, but in flatbedding, you have an experience almost every time.
Almost every time. Yes, almost every time. It is amazing. And I want to see more women out here doing flatbed. We have some
Yes.
at our company that do it solo. Um, and they're awesome people and they do a great job. And I mean, if a woman can do anything a man can do out here, maybe a
Yes, they
little
can.
bit better, but I didn't say that. Women think more logically and they're more safety conscious. than what men
Yes.
are. And I hate to say that, but it's true. Women are better
Mhm.
drivers.
We are.
Yep,
We have a little bit, men have the upper hand when it comes to the strength, and the
that's
brute
right.
force. But when it comes to the brawn, or the brain, sorry, men have the brawn, we have the brain.
Yep,
We are more analytical, and logical. Like you said, you are the logistics part of it. That's generally where we dominate. But yes, I don't think that there is any niche in the trucking industry that women don't belong. I have
no,
met women in about every aspect, and they just rock what they do.
yep. They love it. And it's, as far, like I said, don't let the idea of having to haul tarps stop you. There's always someone to help you. There's always a shipper that's going to help you. And you might be amazed at the fact that if you do it smartly and think about it, women can get them tarps up on loads too and spread them out.
Okay.
It's just
So
all about just concentrating on what you need to do.
as a woman in that niche and knowing other women in that niche, if you were to give advice to prepare them physically, what would you say? Hey, do you need to do squats? Do you need to lift? I mean, what would you tell them to do
Yes.
to prepare themselves for the physical
Okay.
aspect?
Physical aspect. Do a lot of squats and a lot of leg. Okay. A lot of leg. And your shoulder. Okay. Get all that nice and tight because that tarp's going to ride either on your strongest shoulder, which is your right or the left, and you're going to go up that ladder. But squats and your legs and your shoulders, work them. Just work them, and you can get it up there. So,
So
I mean,
teaming,
I've seen guys, short guys that maybe weigh 120 pounds, get a tarp up on a load. So,
yeah,
women can do it too. I think it's just men like to try to hang on to every niche of the industry they can to be male
yeah,
dominated, and they're losing their grip because more
and
and
I
more
gotta tell you,
women are like, I can do it.
they can. And I can, I'm gonna tell you something, women. Okay. So I have lifted weights since I was 19 years old. And if there's one thing I learned in the gym, and this is in the gym, when it comes to upper body strength, men dominate. I mean, they can lift so much more than we can, but women have better lower body strength.
Yep.
Um, Women's legs are amazingly strong. And by doing leg exercises, what you can't do here, a lot of things your legs can accommodate. So,
Yep.
get those legs in shape. Weighted
Squats
squats are
are
great.
amazing. Yep. Squats are amazing for this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I heard there's some certain tricks of the trade that you can learn on how to get the
There's
tarp
tricks.
up.
Yep. Yep.
And YouTube videos, I'm not familiar with which ones they are. Hi. Are you going to give us some tricks of the trade?
Trevor, she's talking to you. You going to give her some tricks of the trade? Like what? He says.
on, on getting that tarp up.
I'm getting that tarp up.
Yeah, have someone else do it for you.
Have someone else do it for you.
That's great advice. That's great. I'd
That
like
is.
to have somebody else
Usually
just
ask
clean
the
my
customer
windshield for
to
me.
put it up in the forklift.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, he does that too. So yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
You
usually
know,
ask the
th-
customer.
there's a
Yeah.
truck stop in Missouri that there was a guy that would clean windshields. That's what he did. He hung around all day for a tip and he'd clean your windshield. They need that at every truck stop.
Right. Correct. They do. They do. For sure.
So
I miss that. We
how,
used to get fuel and
yeah.
get our windshield done for free so much.
Oh my gosh. I wish I've only seen it a couple times, but it needs to be everywhere. So with you guys teaming and being empty nesters, how long are you normally out?
3 to 4 months at a time.
Is that just you guys, or is that, I mean, I don't know how home time works for flatbedding.
Sometimes we get loads. We live in Tennessee, right off of I-40 between Memphis and Nashville. So we can get through the house with a load on or whatever and see the grandkids and stuff. But usually it's 3 to 4 months at a time.
Is that by choice?
Yes, by choice. Yes.
I would
my
choose that
choice.
too if I was out there because I like being out.
It's hard.
So
Yeah, me too. It's hard when I go home. I'm home for 2 or 3 days and I'm like, we got to load. I'm terrible.
I
I'm
get that.
terrible. I
I get
know,
that.
but I like being out here. I'm sorry. So,
It's a great retirement job.
right.
I always call
If you
myself
got
the traveling tourist.
yeah, yeah, a traveling tourist, but you're getting paid to do it. You're
Hmm.
getting paid to do it. And we've seen things out here. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've been to every state. We've been to Canada, we've been to Alaska. It's just, you just see so much. If you got young kids, wait. I think empty nester is best because that is just too much of a distraction. I believe if you got little ones at home, that's just, I don't know. They need their
Yeah.
mom and dad. They need their mom and
Yeah.
dad.
And there are some women that are getting into drive-in where they're homeschooling and they're bringing their kids on, and some of them are
Yep.
doing, but they're home weekly or so forth. And there are certain areas where if you're a single mom, you can get into it. I don't know flatbed. I don't know any single
No,
moms
I
that
don't.
are doing that in
No.
flatbed, but
With
it
van,
is
they
a
can do
lot.
like local work. They can do local work. Just run a
Yeah.
certain, just be home at night, run your day shift, be home at night and off on the weekends. There's a lot out there to build just to build your confidence and your skill level and everything else. So when the kids do go off on their own, then you can chase whatever you want to do. So,
So one before we end here in a couple minutes, one of the things I've always heard team driving for a couple is it will either make you or break you. So how do
yes.
you and the husband handle all that time together, and how do you get your time out?
Okay, so we've always been best friends. Um, we like to golf, so we get out of the truck and golf. And then I, once in a while, we'll go to a casino or whatever. We'll go golf during the day, and then I leave him in the truck to do whatever he wants, and I go in the casino. Not as much lately because, folks, the economy right now is it's a little iffy for that. But we just try to do things as a couple that's not centered around the truck, like movies or just go to a mall, hang out at a mall, go to a park. We got fishing poles in the truck. So I
Oh,
mean,
there's some great
we have our
spots to go
time.
fishing.
Yeah. Yes, fishing. We, golf, fishing. We've done other things. We've done so much. Sightseeing. You're in a city, you're stuck there. Go check out everything you can. The only place that I really would like to go see that's kind of iffy with driving truck would be the Alamo. We have been through past that so many
I
times.
love the Alamo. I love San Antonio. I mean, it is a
Yes.
great city. Yeah, I've been to
Yes,
the
it
Alamo
is. Yes.
twice. I
Yep.
absolutely love it. I highly
And that's the only
recommend
one.
you make the time. Uber, just Uber in.
Uber in. That's the only way to do it. Everything's
All
Uber.
right.
We've been to SeaWorld. We've been to like Six Flags amusement parks. So I mean, we do things that normal people do. We just do it when we have time to.
That is awesome. Well, Tammy, I do want to appreciate you and Trevor taking the time out to sit. They are under a load right now. She is
Yes, we are.
stopped for this podcast.
Yep.
She took an hour to visit with us. So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come on the
You
show
are
today. I do
welcome and
appreciate it.
thank you. And thank you for having me.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say before we close out today?
Just go get them, girls. Get out there. Get behind the wheel of a truck. You'll have freedom. You'll make your own choices in life. You'll feel like you're accomplishing everything you want to and paid travel. You're paid to travel.
Yeah, it gave me financial independence. So financially,
Yes,
it's not
it's
bad
huge.
either.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
huge, right? I mean, you want to make a good living, you can go to college, but it's an iffy situation with college. I got my
it
bachelor's
is.
during COVID in the truck on the road.
Mhm.
And I don't see me using my degree out here. I'm enjoying life and it's a really good living. It's a really good living.
Awesome. That's right. All right, everybody. Again, that was Tami Sheats, Flatbed. Thank you, Tammy, so much for being on the show. Everybody else, see you next week on Truckin' Tuesdays. And you guys have a great week. Stay safe out there. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.